Murphy's Law states that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Hello Tarantula lovers, I'm Alex and you're watching Tarantula Haven. Before I get started with all the fails that have happened to me within the past couple of weeks, there is a little ray of sunshine to all that. I received my first piece of fan mail, and this is the first time ever I'm getting any kind of fan mail like that. This comes from a couple who has been watching my YouTube videos, and they say that they're big fans of mine and they wanted to send me something. The husband, he bought some roaches from me way back in December, I think, and he contributed a little bit extra so that I could have some money for my tarantula fund, and I did. In my Christmas order, I did buy OBT in his honor, and I named it Cody, so thank you for that. Well, his wife Tennille sent me a package, and I thought that was a pretty cool name, Tennille. I have not heard of anyone named Tennille since Captain and Tennille, the singing group of the 70s. So I don't know what this is. I've been holding on to it since Thursday, but I wanted to do an unboxing on video, and it is Sunday today, so the anticipation is killing me. I want to know what's in here. So let me go ahead and unbox this so we can get started with the rest of the video. So yes, I thought that was pretty cool. They just out of the blue asked me, you know, if they could send me something, because they enjoyed watching my videos so much. I do communicate back and forth with them, and through Facebook. They do own tarantulas themselves, and they've been getting into the hobby, and they have lots and lots of questions, so I try to answer them as best as I possibly can. And I don't know, maybe this is a thank you for all that, but yeah. It's not a problem to me at all. I don't mind answering questions, especially if they're things that I know that I can pass on some information. And usually if I don't know, I will find out through other more experienced keepers. So yeah, anyway, here it is. Oh, this is the coolest thing ever. Oh my gosh. Look at that. They're these little knit stuffed animals, I guess, these tarantulas, and they have 8 legs, unlike the ones that they sell for the oh, what do you call those, the Thai babies or whatever. But yeah, and this one, they even have names on them. This one is an avicularia, and they got a little thing written on there, and I'll post that in a little bit. And this one is a Brachypelma auratum, which is one of my absolute favorite Brachypelmas. So thank you so much to Neil and Cody. This is great. I will keep these. I will put them on my desk at school, and I just absolutely love them. These are gorgeous. These are awesome. You got to sell these on Etsy. Thank you so much. And I'm back. I didn't realize that there was a letter enclosed in the package, so I'll read you that letter. Sorry about the birds in the background. They won't shut up. It's daylight. They're active, and they make a whole lot of noise. So please excuse that. So anyway, the letter says, "Dear Alex, our family loves your YouTube channel. The kids are always so excited when a new video comes on. The kids decided that when I made this for you, they wanted to make you some pictures, so those are in here too. I really hope you like what I made you. It's the first time I've ever attempted to make one like this. Although I have made many other types of items, this was the first. I hope you enjoy it and feel free to show it off. It's going to be something I will be making more of and selling, which I told you should do. I will be making, I'm sorry, we really appreciate you and your channel. Take care, as you would say, keep loving those tarantulas." She said it correctly. My wife always gets on to me about that because I always say keep loving them tarantulas, but I'm not changing it. So anyway, sincerely, Tennille, and she gives me her pronunciation, which she says nobody gets right, but I did. And Cody, Travis, Abby, and Levi. And these are the pictures that they enclosed in there. This one is from Travis, and he has a communal there going on. And I got another one from Abby, and she shows me her spiders. And they have an egg sac, which hopefully I'll have soon. And I've got another one from Abby, which got these cute little spiders with the googly eyes on them. And I got one from Levi. And here's Levi, and he has a pink-toed tarantula on there. So once again, thank you very much. Oh, there's one more. One more from Levi, again, with the googly eyes. So thank you so much, Travis, Abby, and Levi. I absolutely love the pictures, Tennille. I love the spiders. I will definitely cherish these. And if you do open up a Etsy store for these, I will give you some free advertisement on here too. So thank you very much for that. So, on with the woe is me. First of all, why do I have two birds sitting on my shoulders? Shut up, birds. There's never really tons and tons at a Repty Day because it's a... Oh my god, birds, shut up. It all started when I went to the Repty Day on the 16th of February. Bird. And this was no different, but Mike from... Oh my god. This is Ripley and this is Coco. They are not my birds. They belong to my daughter and my wife, but for some reason they like me. And they're the ones that are always making all the chattery noise in the background whenever I try to do a video, especially during the day. So because they wouldn't shut up, I decided I was going to put them on video. And now we're all quiet, aren't we? Aren't we? Ow, don't bite my ear. Yeah, now they're all scared because they don't like being in front of the camera and they don't like all the lights and stuff. So now they're trying to be good. So anyway, on February 16th, I went to Repty Day in Gainesville, and I don't usually expect a whole lot when I go to the Repty Days because it's a small venue. They only have a few vendors there, and I usually find maybe one or two vendors that are selling arachnids or invertebrates. But before I even went inside, Mike from Exotic Kingdom was there, and he told me that there wasn't really anybody selling bugs. And he knows that I like them because I usually buy from him. And so we had a guest with us, and I wanted him to experience what it was like to go to a reptile show. So we decided to go in anyway, and there really wasn't much there. There was one guy there selling bugs, but there weren't really a whole lot. So here's my experience with that. Ouch! Here's my experience with the Repty Day. So the Repty Day was typical of most of your Repty Days, is that, you know, you had your typical vendors that sell supplies. Had a lot of leopard geckos at this particular one. And some chameleons. Now, most of these vendors are usually small name vendors, so they don't have a lot on stock. Now this was something I don't typically see at most reptile shows. They had a vendor selling betta fish, and they were beautiful, but yeah, most people aren't really looking for fish at a reptile show. Now this is something else that's not very typical of reptile shows. This person had birds. Now we do have bird shows around here where they sell all different kinds of birds, but yeah, this was not typical of any reptile show I think I've ever been to. So wouldn't you know it, the most popular table seemed to be the one with the invertebrates, and they did have some tempting stuff. They had a few centipedes, and you know, I'm not really sure I want to get into centipedes, but yeah, I was a little bit tempted. But they had some scorpions. They had a few local scorpions, and most likely wild caught. And I'll have to admit that I was tempted by these desert hairy scorpions. They were actually pretty cheap. So yeah, $20 for the smaller ones and about $25 for the larger ones. So I was tempted, but I like my Asian forest scorpions, and I'm not really sure I want to get into anything new right now other than my tarantulas and the scorpions I have. So yeah, Repty Day was a complete and total bust, and I didn't buy anything. So I saved money, but I didn't get anything to add to my collection. And then the next thing that happened is things are warming up here in Florida. So the critters are coming out, especially snakes. And I'm the critter guy at our school, and usually I get called if there's a snake so that I can come remove it and relocate it, because I don't like people killing them, and they all know that. So they call me, I come get them, and I remove them and I take them somewhere else. So here's my experience with that. I'm in the middle of the woods near where I live, and basically spring has sprung here in Florida, and it's only mid-February, but that's how it happens around here. Things warm up pretty quick, and one of the first things that people tend to notice is that when things warm up, the snakes come out. So at school, people call me whenever there's critters around, and we had a couple of snakes that showed up on campus, so I caught them, and normally I'll take them home with me and then I'll release them out into the wild. So that's why I'm out here in the woods. So let me show you what I've got. 2 of them came from school, 1 of them came from my own home, but there's a lot behind my house that they were clearing out, and they spooked this snake out, so I'm gonna relocate it to a safe location. Alright, so this first snake I've got here, this is a pinewood snake, and this is the one that was caught at my home, and my son caught it for me while I was at work. So, interesting thing about pinewood snake is that they usually dwell underneath leaf litter and things like that. So when they cleared that back lot, it of course got spooked out, and they normally feed on slugs, things that live under the leaf litter. And interesting thing is that they are mildly venomous, but the venom is considered harmless to humans. So I'm gonna let it go. There's plenty of leaf litter here for it to run off into. And he's gone. And this next one is an eastern black snake, and you can tell how feisty it is. Ooh, he bit me. And off he goes. Well, that was good. So yeah, I had this grand idea in my head that I was going to release these things into the wild, talk to you a little bit about each and every one of this different species that I was releasing, but they had other plans. Things were warm, they were really hyped up, and as soon as I opened that lid, they all took off. So all my plans went to... So that was that. And the final thing that I want to talk about is I ended up having an emergency with my aquarium. This happened yesterday as I was preparing to shoot the video that I originally wanted to record, but my aquarium decided to spring a leak. My aquarium is 18 years old. I got it when we first moved into this house, and my daughter was just about like 1 year old. And I had fish in it all the time. There was never a time period where I didn't have fish in the aquarium, except for when my koi died, probably this December, I think, or a little bit before that. And that was the last fish that I've ever had in there. So I decided I was going to drain the aquarium, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And I let it sit probably for a couple of months before my daughter decided to or convinced me to set up or do some aquascaping with the aquarium. So we are now all involved in this aquascaping, and all of a sudden my aquarium decides to spring a leak. So I figured, since I wasn't going to be spending pretty much the whole day fixing that issue, I would make a video of it. So I'm gonna warn you right now, there are no tarantulas in the rest of this video at all. So if you want to tune out right now, you can. If you want to see what happened and what I did with my aquarium, then this is the video for you. So here we go. So this was the status of my aquarium before it sprung a leak. My wife noticed that morning that it was leaking from the seam and was puddling up on the floor. So we had to act quick, and I used some Flex Seal tape to seal up the side there and a little bit of silicone, and that stopped it. Unfortunately, the day looked like this. So of all days, it had to be pouring down rain outside. But yeah, my main concern was, what was I gonna do with all of my shrimp and my fish and everything that was in there. The plants, everything in that aquarium is pretty much of value and is living, except for, of course, the wood there. So I had to think about how to transfer those animals out, and the water, as much water as I could possibly salvage, so that I could put them back into the new aquarium without shocking them too much or causing anything devastating to happen to any of them. So, you know, I really had to think on my feet on this one. And this is some recently planted dwarf hairgrass, and I had to pull it up piece by piece. So that was my first line of attack, was to go ahead and pull out all the plants first and bag them up and put them into something where they wouldn't dry out, so that I could get the rest of the stuff out. So the next step was to remove the fish from the aquarium into a bucket that contained water from the aquarium, so that there wouldn't be a difference in their water. And I asked my daughter to do this because she's much better at catching the fish than I am. She's got a much steadier hand, and I don't know, she's kind of got a knack for it. So she quickly captured all the fish and put them in the bucket for me. So once I got all the fish removed and all the water drained, we went ahead and replaced the aquarium. This is the new aquarium, and I'm putting down some bags of filter media to create hills, and then I added some fluval stratum to kind of help my plants grow. I'm not wealthy, so I only put a little bit in there. Most people will usually fill up the entire aquarium bottom as their substrate. But yeah, I just put it in both sides. And this also gave me an opportunity to change the sand. If you remember, I had white sand in there, and one thing I found out from watching videos and from reading up some stuff is that lighter colors tend to cause the fish to look washed out, which was true. So I decided to go with black sand this time. So, you know, this was something positive that came from this. And that gave me an opportunity to change it, just to see if that would cause their colors to pop a lot more. So I managed to save about 50% of the water from the old aquarium. And then once I filled it back up to about the 50% mark, it was time to put the fish back in. I know it seems a little bit rough, but yeah, I was actually pretty gentle with them because I didn't want them to get hurt or anything like that. And they seem to be doing okay, which I was pretty happy about. And once the aquarium was full again, it was time to replant it. So I had to go in there and piece by piece put in all the plants that I had taken out. I decided I wanted to put the fan wart on the left side of the aquarium because there was a lot less turbulence on that side. And I wanted to keep the anacris toward the middle, but I cut back on it. This stuff grows so fast. It grows about an inch a day, so I just wanted to refill some of the areas, but I didn't want it to make it as dense as I had it before. And once again, the painstaking process of replanting the dwarf hairgrass. So fortunately, that had just been planted, and replanting it was just, really not that big of a deal. Most people use tweezers to get it in there, but I find it's a lot easier for me just to use my fingers. And once everything was planted, a quick scan around, and I could see that the fish looked a little bit stressed, but for the most part they were none the worse for wear. Everybody was doing okay, so I was feeling pretty good about this change. And by the next day the water had cleared significantly, and yeah, the fish seemed to be pretty happy. Their colors were back. The shrimp seemed to love the fan wart over here on the new corner, so they were all hanging out over there. And I love my cherry shrimp. They're just so much fun to watch. I just kind of sit there and watch them. And when I first started this aquarium, when my daughter suggested that we do a aquascaped aquarium with live plants, I was a little bit leery of doing it because I'd never done it before, and I've been watching videos. Aquarium Co-op, I love watching his stuff, but I gained a little bit of confidence, and she had been watching him too, so she let me go ahead or encouraged me to go ahead and start it. So we've been working on it little by little, buying plants here and there, and it looks like a shrimp molted there. That's a good sign. But yeah, one of the things that I was wanting to do with this aquarium was, of course, have plants, but I wanted it to where no matter where you looked in the aquarium, you always found some kind of activity, some kind of life in there somewhere. And so far, I think it's succeeding at that. I've been buying community fish and shrimp and just these little critters that like to hang out in different places, so that there's always a spot for somebody somewhere within this aquarium. I love these bristlenose plecos. They're so fun to watch. They fight with each other and they fight with the cories and so on. And I did notice that the cories, the panda cories, were gaining color. The shrimp, their colors are just popping. And yeah, I believe the dark substrate has a lot to do with that. They did darken up. When the cories were on the white sand, they had gotten real faded to the point that we worried that they might be sick or something might be wrong with them, but it was just them blending in with their environment. And I really like my cardinal tetras, and I was extremely worried about them because we did have one jump out of the tank, but they're fine. All 4 of them are doing fine. And it's so cool to watch them eat because they don't really mind each other. They just kind of group up and start feeding on whatever's there. So yeah, mission accomplished. It was successful. So yeah, as you can see, everything turned out okay with my aquarium. Unfortunately, it did take some time away from me and I didn't get to do the tarantula video that I wanted. However, I do have some tarantula videos coming up in the near future. I'm working on a green bottle blue species showcase, and I've got to do some rehousings because I've got some tarantulas that have gotten too large for their enclosure, and I got to move them. And that's something that I'm looking forward to. So yeah, that wraps me up for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Tennille, thank you so much for the tarantulas. They are gorgeous. If you ever get your little Etsy store going or something like that, just let me know and I'll give you some advertisement on that. And Travis, Abby, and Levi, thank you so much for the pictures. I love them. I think they're great. I'm going to post them up on my wall at school. And if I ever get some kind of studio thing going on instead of my kitchen, I'll post them there too. Or I'll put them up there in the background. But right now, I don't foresee that coming anytime near or anytime soon. And that's it. So if you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you want to support this channel, I do have a Redbubble store where I sell Tarantula Haven merchandise, and I have a link down below in the description. Any of the proceeds to that helps to grow and support this channel. So until next time, keep loving them tarantulas, or those tarantulas.